Hi and welcome along. Oh, my computer wouldn't start up. I'm going to be reasonably quick with this, like my opponent today. I've now played 17,001 games on Lead Chess, but as mentioned previously, I haven't played all those games. Some other people have played those games as well, but I'm talking about my friend, one of my best friends, and a chess friend who I was just speaking to recently about being flippant with your pawns. You cannot, well, you can, like that's an absolute word, is cannot or shouldn't. Maybe shouldn't is a better word. You you shouldn't really be too flippant with your pawns by saying words like, "Oh, it's only a pawn," because a pawn can race to the other side of the board, or can be quite instrumental, or can be a checkmating piece of material that can checkmate your opponent's king. So I played one game today. So, like I'm saying, don't just go like that in chess. Or also I was saying to one of my best friends who happens to be a very, very good chess player. I have to say that because I get beaten by him. so, and um, because I'm flippant too. So one has to be very, very careful to just think, don't be flippant about your pawns or pieces, because I'm just reminded of the Grand Master whom I watched on Twitch, I think, and he said a piece is a piece, and he ruined his king side for that reason. The other thing is that I said as well to my great friend who's going to be playing in the South Island Chess Championships, I'll say Lord willing, in Invercargill, he's going to be playing in the South Island Chess Championships coming up. So I'm getting him ready, just by principles, that don't just make a move because you've got to make a move. Like, I'm not saying this, but Capablanca says it. Capablanca or Jose. Jose says it. Jose says. So what I'm saying is don't be flippant with your pawns and don't be flippant with your moves. Try to find a better move than the move that David Wegener is going to play. Try to find a better move. So anyway, I haven't got much time, so I do want to bring soon to this channel the Braille system. The Braille system of the Spanish, or the rouleaux-pairs, the rouleaux-pay. I want to bring that because I find it very, very interesting that the knight goes to c6 on move 2 in the Spanish, and then on move 9, I think, it goes back to b8 or something like that. Move 8, 7, 8 goes back to b8, which seems a bit odd, and it repositions itself to d7. So anyway, I'm going to bring you this game. I hope you enjoy this game. This is my 17,001 first game. And so I hope you enjoy this game. This is a classical game of chess, and both players, including myself, which I'm white here in this position, are starting with the full amount of time, 20 minutes. No berserk mode. And my opponent, I've noticed, played within, didn't go down to 19 minutes at all in this whole game of chess, I think. So that is a little bit of a problem, but my opponent played very, very good chess. Very, very good chess, and I thought, this isn't an easy opponent. So here comes this game, okay? So let's have a look at this game. And I'll race through the first amount of moves, which are, once I go to my actual proper screen. Oh, we've got a problem with a little bit of drag with my computer, so I apologize for that. My rating is just under 2200 for classical chess. So lead chess would say, well, you're better at rapid than classical. But classical is where I've had a very, very, very good result. I even know the date of it. It was 12th of December 2020. It was a Saturday. I think it was 2020. Yeah, I do. And I got a good place. I won't go on about it, but I beat a Grandmaster, or the Grandmaster dropped the ball, I'll say. So I want to race through see that move A4? This move A4 is very, very good because it's a nothing move. More on that later, but I've already spoken about that. Knight E4, and I played G4. Now here I was expecting Knight D2 and then Bishop E4, but my opponent went back to H7. So I played Knight E4 anyway. And my opponent would hope for me playing a pre-move here of move 12 for white, Bishop F3, but I wasn't going to do that in this 20 minutes each game plus 10-second increments. My opponent's played D4 on move 11, and now I play Bishop D2. I was thinking of playing Queen E1, but I played Bishop D2 because I thought I better behave myself. A5, Bishop E1, Castle, Bishop G3. So I've moved this now 3 times. Instead of my queen going to G3, I've moved my bishop to G3. Queen C7, H4. Gary's move and also Magnus's move. So it can't be bad. Knight E5, and now I have an option of playing F E5 or D E5. But because F4 is a bit like F5, I'll leave my pawn there, thanks. So I go D E5 and Bishop C5. What do I do now? I don't know. I don't know what to do now. I'm not actually sure what to do here, but my opponent is playing quite well. So I now play Queen C1, and this now has... That looks a bit odd, doesn't it? Because I don't want to play Queen D2, because then a rook's going to come and attack my queen on the D file, and I don't know what's going to happen thereafter. So I went Queen C1, or I could have gone Bishop F2. And now my opponent went Queen B6, so I'm having to defend. That's something that happens in chess, but I'm going to do it because at the end of the day, that E3 pawn is a pawn, and I'm not going to start talking to you about how important pawns are when I'm just going to let that one flippantly go by and say, well, I can't be bothered defending that pawn. That's not what I'm saying my friend's saying, but that's what I'm saying here. So Queen B6, I now played Bishop F2. Now this bishop has now been invested with 4 moves in this whole game so far. So anyway, we come to the point of this whole game that I'm trying to show you, which I am showing you of course, is F6, EF6, Rook F6, G5, HG5, and HG5. Now, I wasn't wanting to play FG5 for other reasons aforementioned, but also because maybe black would play Rook F2, sacrifice, Rook takes Bishop F2, maybe, and then Bishop E3 soon after, depending on what white myself does against Rook F2. But if it was Rook F2 straight away, capture from white, then Bishop E3 would be good. So anyway, moving on, because this is not what I want to show you. Here I hope for a word that I will use in chess. I hope for Rook F5. Black could probably play here Rook f4 almost, but not quite, because my bishop is on e2. So rook f4, ef4, and e3 would be maybe a little bit annoying, but if I have to move my bishop, which I do have to, on f2, but because there's a bishop on e2, white is not going to have to worry about a discovery check on their king hitting the rook on f1, if you get what I mean, with the little wee old pawn. Rook f8. c3. Now it comes about my plan. Yeah, I've got a wee plan here, is to do something here. I'm going to start bolstering up d4, yeah? Not only am I bolstering up d4, but I'm also threatening soon to play b4. But I can't do it very easily because the pawn is under restraint. So my opponent plays bishop f5 here, and now play rook b1 with the same idea, but I can't really do it without losing one of my pawns, which I might say now, well, it's only a pawn, and it opens up lines. So now my opponent plays king f7. What's the sort of move? Not yet. Now play rook d1 and rook a d8. So what's the sort of move you're going to play now for white? What's the sort of move that you might consider now for white? And it's actually to do with my move b4 as an example for you to think about what I'm trying to do here. I merely play a move that promotes a pawn move. So there you go, there's the clue. I play here bishop h5 check. Now, my opponent reacts to this the way I want my opponent to react to it. Namely in that my opponent plays g6, pawn g6. And thereby it happens that there was a soft spot on black's f6 square. So I can then get my queen out of the debacle or the dilemma of having to look after e3 by repositioning black's bishop c5 and queen b6 maybe. And then I can also attack twice the bishop on b4 once it catches, and the f6 square with my queen, and I can pin the bishop at the same time on b4 and threaten maybe queen f6 check. So g6 occurred, and then I just go back here, so that if now rook d1, then I just play bishop d1, and if my opponent gets a draw, my opponent gets a draw. So after rook d1, I of course do not play queen d1, I play bishop d1, as otherwise I'm going to lose a tempi at least. Now my opponent now plays rook h8, which really helps me. Why? And that will be the end of the session once I show the next resulting move. So here's rook h8 for those who want to have the visual aid. Rook h8. Now, what can I do with the drunken sailor? The drinking sailor. I can play b4, a b4, c b4, bishop b4. There's my phone again. Bishop b4, probably been told to hurry up. Bishop b4, and now after queen b2, I have a double attack of this, attacking the bishop and attacking the rook. And there's no real savingness for black here. c5 will not do, as I just capture the rook. So my opponent now played, maybe not realizing, rook h3. Now, if I play queen f6 check, then I'm not going to win here. So I just play queen b4, rook b4, and that is the end of this session.
Okay, bye-bye. I like it. My little brother, he was trying to.
Okay, bye. Thank you for watching.